What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Tall Podcast. And unfortunately, we are coming on with some breaking news, some bad breaking news. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear as I say the bad news to you via Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. The Cowboys are working to hire Christian Parker as their defensive coordinator, sources tell him and Rap Sheet. Just 34 years old, Parker spent the last two seasons as the passing game coordinator slash, more importantly, DB coach under Vic Fangio with the Eagles. Now gets his first defensive coordinator job, and it's in the NFC East. So this guy will have the sorry, and I mean sorry, roster on Dallas to deal with. But he will be playing against our Eagles at least 2 times a year for the foreseeable future. He's 34 years old. We already know the job he did with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, all pros in their second year. Second year all pro players. Now, granted, when we drafted Quinyon in the first round, we all knew he was going to be good. Did we expect one of the best corners in the game this fast? Maybe not quite that fast, but we knew Quinyon was a dog. We knew Coop was a first-round talent that got drafted late because of the injury and the white skin color. Let's call a spade, right? We knew these guys were going to be talented, but Christian Parker definitely got the best out of them. I didn't want to see him go. He came here as the DC, got another title as passing game coordinator to probably get a raise to keep him from leaving last year when we won the Super Bowl, right? So we won with him. Fangio brought him here because he knew the style of coach he was, and he proved to be great. And he has a track record of getting cornerbacks to play their best. Think about the guy the Eagles signed this season who retired without playing football. Right? I'm talking about the dude who was good with the Packers, played with the Baltimore Ravens, was trash. Let me know in the comment section. I can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. We signed him. He never played. Let me know in the chat. Y'all definitely know. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it too. But anyways, that player played his best football with the Green Bay Packers when Christian Parker was his DB coach. Jair Alexander, shout out to R13 Easy, Ty Child, and EJ for saying it first. But then everybody's flooding it in the comment section. Jair Alexander, who retired at a young age because he's all messed up here, respectfully, he got his best cornerback play under that dude. He molded two young stars into greatness early, all pro corners early. And one of the jobs he did that goes overlooked is what he did with that corner, number 8 on our team, Adoree Jackson. When we signed him, nobody was happy. Early in the season when he was playing, nobody was happy. Why was nobody happy? Because he was getting cooked. Now you could say, well, Christian Parker's supposed to be great. Why is he getting cooked? He just got here. Sometimes veterans are set in their ways. So he just got here. CP only spent a training camp with him. But as the season went on, Adoree Jackson played better. Why? Is it just a coincidence that a corner who did bad with the Giants came to the Eagles, played bad like he was with the Giants, and got better each week? The later the season, the better he played. Why? Oh, coaching. Not just Vic Fangio, but Christian Parker. And I'm happy that he's a defensive coordinator, right? Every coordinating coach wants to eventually be a DC or an OC. Like, these guys are aiming for that. If you're a wide receivers coach, a quarterback coach, an O-line coach, you're trying to become an offensive coordinator. Maybe not Jeff Stoutland. That's why I love him to death. But let's look at this. other than Jeff Stoutland, this guy right here was our best coach, not named Vic Fangio and Stoutland. Let's put it that way. Out of a coordinator job, he was our third best coordinator in person to get the best out of him. 34 years young. I was hoping that the Cowboys wouldn't take him, one. Then the Packers let their DC, well, they didn't let their DC be hired, but Miami hired the Packers defensive coordinator. And I said, well, Christian Parker got ties with the Matt LaFleur. He got ties with Matt LaFleur. He might be the Green Bay Packers DC. But the Cowboys visited him first or interviewed him first. And he's now the new defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to Rocky with a $2 super chat. This has been a rough season as a Birds fan, shaking my head. Yes, we had the talented roster depletion with malpractice offensively, coaching. Then to come have an offseason where we fire our OC, there's a bunch of options, and boom, 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 boom. So far, 3 coaches we interviewed, Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll, and Zach Robinson, not only picked other teams, but they got their backup teams too. Dude, there's a report out there. I don't know how true it is. I got to do more due diligence before I really say this is concrete. But they say Matt Nagy, a guy we interviewed yesterday, Matt Nagy, former assistant from Andy Reid, became a head coach for the Bears, failed as a head coach, went back with Andy Reid and KC to be the OC. But you know Andy Reid called plays over there. Matt Nagy interviewed, but he said he has 2 jobs that he'd rather take over the Eagles. I don't think that's really true, because why would you say that? Even if you got jobs that you rather take, you're not going to put, I don't know. But there's a report going out that Matt Nagy has 2 jobs that he prefers over the Eagles. It's like last case scenario, which is crazy. And now we lose a guy that we all held in high regards, 34-year-old DB coach, who worked well with Fangio. He brought him over here, molded Quinion, Coop, got the best out of Adoree Jackson. He will be the DC calling plays for the Cowboys. So here's the thing. Christian Parker knows Fangio. Christian Parker knows our defensive talent. And I say if, the Cowboys, which probably won't happen this year, get some better defensive talent, they gonna at least know how, what am I talking about? He's the DC. He's not the OC. But anyways, he's played against the Eagles offense. And I just think he's going to become a great defensive coordinator. See, my philosophy and my hope was that the Eagles could just give him another title on top of DB coach like they did last year and pay him more money. Make him an assistant to something. Simply because in a perfect world on the defensive side, Fangio continues to coach, but when he decides to step down, we pass the torch to that young guy. He's only 34. He don't got to rush. And that's the thing about rushing. Now, he's the Cowboys DC. He might be able to coach up players. He might be able to call a good game. But if they're just trash on that side of the ball, it's going to make him look bad. And when you get your opportunity, you want to make sure it's going to work out. That's all I'm going to say. The NFL stands for not for long. That's not just for players. That's also for coaches, whether it's head coaches, coordinators, or even somebody just on the staff in general. So I wish, again, Fangio's going to retire as the Eagles DC. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. However, I'm thinking he's not going to be around for 10 more years. He's old, right? Maybe not even 5 more years. If Fangio got 2 or 3 years left in him, he rocks out, and then we hand the keys to what would be a trained defense that he knows in and out to really take off. But he went to the Cowboys. Ty Hart with a $2 super chat. Oh, the boys can block trades in DIV, but we can't. Oh, the boys can block trades in division, but we can't. Yeah, I think trades are different than this. And again, we can't deny the interview because he's not going laterally, right? If the Cowboys were trying to interview him for their defensive back coach, we could get that out of here. You know what I mean? Molly Wop blocked that, but we can't because it was a step up in position coaching. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's annoying. LOL. He can go. Yeah, I mean, no use of crying over spilt milk. It just sucks that we will be playing against his style defense for 2 years for the foreseeable future. But again, he don't got much to work with. I ain't scared of the Cowboys simply off of him going there. I respect him as a coach. I think he's gonna get the best out of him. But if the best is still a D minus, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Ego and Censor said they're telling you without telling you. We are supposed to read between the lines. They're just not going to plainly say it. If you're talking about the coaching staff, right? Again, there's plenty of reasons why people don't want to come to Philly, according to the national media. Some people are trying to blame it on Jalen Hurts. Some people are saying it's Nick Sirianni, although a report came out via Jeff McClain that when we interviewed Mike McDaniels and Brian Daboll, they told them both that they would have full autonomy. Now, I don't know if they told a Zach Robinson that or a Jim Bob Cooter that or blah-de-do-blah that. Oh, the Eagles also just interviewed today. I was going to do that video, but I had to get a cut. And then all this happened on my way back. But the Eagles also interviewed Bears offensive coordinator Delkin Doyle. Now, Delkin Doyle didn't call plays over in Chicago. That is Ben Johnson's responsibility, but he is from the Sean Payton tree. So Doyle came from the Sean Payton tree, learned under Ben Johnson. That's two minds in the NFL offensively that I would like to incorporate into this offense. But can he call plays? Can he layer them? Can he sequence them? I'm not big having a first-time play caller. Here's the difference. We can say, heck no, heck no, heck no. We just had a first-time play caller in KP. Not only was KP a first-time play caller, but guess where he learned offensive football? From Nick Sirianni. So at least this guy got Ben Johnson's brain to pick from a year, and he's coming from the Sean Payton tree. But I don't want another first-time play caller because as much as the game plan matters, designing routes, layering them together, knowing when to call them design routes and disguising things is just as important. So not a big fan of that. But to get back to the nitty gritty, the Cowboys are working to hire Christian Parker as their DC, sources tell Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. Just 34 years old, Parker spent the last 2 seasons as the pass game coordinator / DB coach under Fangio with the Eagles. Now he gets his first DC job, and it will be in the NFC East. Look at what Cooper DeJean said. Cooper DeJean, I just posted it. So we can maybe zoom in a little. Maybe not. But anyways, Coop said, man, they got a great one. Wouldn't be the player I am without CP, as he quote tweeted Tom Pelissero's tweet. So of course he's happy for him, but our guy Coop is a little upset. Let's hear what Zach Berman said about the situation. Cowboys working to hire, blah, blah, blah. I think he said something. This is the first possible replacement for Christian Parker. Zach Berman tweeted, I'd pay attention to safeties coach Joe Casper taking on a bigger role in the Eagles secondary. He's also a well-regarded up-and-coming coach. Joe Casper has ties. I mean, Joe Casper was in the room already with Christian Parker as he was the safety coach. He knows Fangio. He knows how Christian Parker likes to do things. He knows how Fangio does like to do things. So I guess, yes, if we're going to promote within for that position, because that's different than calling plays. You know what I'm saying? You guys, the DB coaches are getting the guys right. They're working with them. Yes, that matters. But, Joe Casper is known in that circle. Safeties, DBs, they're interchangeable somewhat at the NFL level. At least nickel and safety are. We did it time and time again with Coop, Avante. It is what it is. That being said, that looks to be the first possible replacement per Zach Berman. Safeties coach Joe Casper possibly taking a bigger role in the Eagles secondary coach. He's also well-regarded and up-and-coming coach. But let's go to see what Zach Berman said as it pertains to all this. Oh, he wrote the article. I don't know if it's going to come up. It's in the New York Times. Oh, we got to pay for it. And I don't have it on this account. I'm not actually a member of Athletic, to be honest. So, got to read that another time. Let's back up. But yes, he's officially with the Cowboys. Let's go to Tom Pelisseros or Ian Rappaport. That was the best one. Let's see what y'all got to say. Jose Cruz with a $2 super chat. And Howie, we trust he will make this all work out. Yeah, I mean, Howie Roseman has shown you that he's built multiple Super Bowl rosters, right? He built one in 2017, he built one in 2022, and he built one in 2024. Now, the 2022 and the 2024 had a lot of similarities, but the 2024 and the 2026 one will also have a lot of similarities. But I still give him so much credit for having a whole different team. I'm talking about different offensive linemen, minus Jason and Lane for the 17 and 22 appearance. Different quarterback, different wide receivers, different safeties, different corners, different everything almost, different coaches. So shout out to Howie Roseman for being able to do that. Does Howie call plays? I mean, at this point, I won't understand why not. Let this man rock out. Let this man Howie Roseman do it all, dog. I'm sure he'll be able to figure something out. Juco said, what about the college coach who won best play caller of the year last year? Who was that? Give us Kellen Moore back? Yeah, man. I really wish we could. John said, I don't understand how our front office allowed that to happen. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you could have offered a pay raise in a different position, not DC, though. That's the thing, though. I mean, Howie Roseman, you couldn't deny the Cowboys interviewing him simply because it wasn't a lateral move. It was a upgrade in coaching status. As long as it's an upgrade, we can't deny it. Now, if the Cowboys wanted him to be their DB coach, could have smacked their hands away. The only thing Howie could have did was possibly say, we'll give you assistant title, pay you more, and when Fangio retires, which again, he's going to retire as an Eagle. Vic Fangio will retire as an Eagle. But I don't think he got 5, 6, 7 years. I think it's more along the lines of 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we could have gave him the assistant title, the more money, and the little wink that when Fangio retires in a handful of years, you get the reins of a good defense. He's like, bro, I've been coaching for a while. You can't knock anybody who's been dreaming about being a defensive coordinator. The time comes and he gives it up. And if the Cowboys didn't take him as their DC, the Packers would have took him as theirs. As their DC became the head coach of Miami Dolphins, They know him. He started his coaching career with Matt LaFleur. So, I mean, yes, I would have loved Howie to step in and save the day as he tends to do, but I can't get mad that maybe that even happened. And Parker's like, bro, I would love, like, be a DC now or be a DC in 3 years. Late 3 years, you'll have a good defense. Now you're starting out with a bad defense, but it's everybody's dream. You know, the Eagles, like I said, we interviewed Matt Nagy for OC. Reports are he got other options. We'll see how that all that pans out when I do my due diligence. And of course, we interviewed the Bears guy. If you're just getting in here, we're talking mainly about this, but we have talked about other stuff. What I do is the first 15 to 20 minutes is just me talking, and now we go wherever the chat takes us. But if the chat wants to take us to OC talk, we do that. Stay with the Christian Parker talk, we do that. But before we do all that, shout out to y'all. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't come in 20 minutes later, right? Why come in 20 minutes later? With that being said, stop letting the sports books rob you. It is 2026. It's time, if you haven't done it already, to get on the new app. Hold up. It's time to get on a new app. It's called Polymarket, which is a prediction market where you trade on the outcome instead of being locked in on one play. Plus, it really helps you keep your winnings, unlike the sports books that literally take $9 on a $100 win, where Polymarket takes only 10 cents. I also love how easy the app is. Let's go ahead and pull it up, where we will find the AFC and NFC championship games, both good, but I'm going 70% New England. Let's buy it for $100. No way the Patriots defense and offense loses to a Broncos team that is talented, but will be playing with their backup quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. So as you can see, we just bought New England Patriots for $100. But the fun don't stop there. Make sure you're tuned in to Polymarket as the game's going. The percent might change. You might be able to trade and sell and make a profit before the game ends. And if it's going a different way, you can still react in real time with other things to do. Polymarket lets you trade in and out and or cash out whenever you want, unlike the sports book that blocks trades and cash outs multiple times during the game. Also play anywhere because it's available in all 50 states. Download Polymarket today by clicking the link in my description. Once you do that, use promo code PhillyMike, and Polymarket will give you a free $10 once you sign up. No deposit needed. Once again, go check out Polymarket. Use promo code PhillyMike. The link will be in the description when this video is over. Right now, it's pinned to the top of the comment section. Sign up. It's absolutely free. You don't even have to deposit, and they give you $10. Jose said at this point how he can call plays. Bleep Sirianni and Patullo. Yes, it's going to be hard for me to get back on a Sirianni train like right away. I understand. Look, at the end of the day, he's proven to be able to galvanize this team and win football games with this roster. Now, has he had great coordinators when he won more games? Yes. Has he always had his finger on his offense that kind of distorted it? Yes. But us just getting a new OC or a new head coach don't normally mean that's just going to come in and click. I just feel like I need to just redo everything. I think it's too big of a blunder. But there's something wrong. There's something keeping us from getting OCs. Every team that fired their offensive coordinator already replaced their OC. Lions did it. Bucks did it. And a couple other teams did it. Now, again, there's a couple reasons why people are saying this is a unattractive place or undesirable place. Some say Jalen Hurts. I call cap. Some say Nick Sirianni. I could understand that, except for the two interviews we had with McDaniels and Brian Daboll. It's now being reported by Jeff McClain that Nick said, bro, I'm going to give you full autonomy, meaning the way I allow Vic Fangio to run the defense, I will allow you to run the offense. Maybe they believed he's just saying that and he will eventually butt in and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Also, Mike McDaniels has a wife out there in LA. You know what I'm saying? Like her family's out there. I don't know. So some say Jalen, some say Nick, some say that the roster is good on paper, but nobody knows what Lane Johnson is doing. I said this in yesterday's video. Nobody knows what Lane Johnson is doing after that Liz Frank injury. He was supposed to be back during the Buffalo game, and he never even played in the playoff game. That was 3 weeks later. So that Liz Frank is worse than people thought. So Lane's future's up. AJ's future's up in the air. Maybe not to the diehard Eagle fans, but the rest of the NFL really believes his status is up in the air, right? You got Landon Dickerson coming off an injury where he said he's never felt this type of pain in his life. You know, we do have 20 free agents. I haven't even done a video because I'm so worried about the OC and now losing a great defensive back coach and Christian Parker that we haven't even talked about the 20 free agents, some starters, some key contributors. So maybe the roster is not as perfect. And when people say the Philly media and the fan base being too harsh, listen, bro, if you go to other stadiums, there's just as many. There's actually more fights in other stadiums than the Link. First of all, there's a video out of Amon-Ra St. Brown saying Lion fans are dumb. They don't know football because the Lions hired their offensive coordinator, who was formerly the OC of the Cardinals, and Lion fans are upset. They're already saying he's trash, 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 trash. And Amon-Ra St. Brown on this podcast said, bro, Lion fans are stupid. Like, let it play out. Like, relax. So at least we didn't call KP stupid until we saw he was stupid. You know what I mean? That being said, there's mean fan bases everywhere. Now, the Philly media is more harsh than other media around the league, but it's because of the pressure. That's ultimately the biggest thing. If Mike McDaniels goes to the Chargers and they win a playoff game, they will say it's a step in the right direction. They've been to the playoffs. They never won a playoff game. Mike McDaniels wins them a playoff game. Yay, McDaniels. If he only wins one playoff game with the Eagles, it's a failed season. Anything less than a Super Bowl appearance would be considered a failed season in some people's eyes. Maybe to other people, it's an NFC championship loss. Or maybe you just got to wait out and see the context and how we win or lose. I understand that. But that's the pressure. Daboll goes to Tennessee, and he gets Cam Ward to look a little bit better. And he gets Tennessee a wild card spot. And they lose in the first round. Yay, Brian Daboll. This is the best we've seen from Cam Ward, and we went from a top 5 worst team to a wild card loss. That is good. He come to Philly, he gets knocked out in the divisional round. You suck. So it's the pressure. But this is why I say Philly ain't for everybody, especially in where we are right now. You know, it was easy for Nick Sirianni to become the head coach of the Eagles after only winning 4 games. He won 9. Yay, Sirianni. Super Bowl next year. Yay, Sirianni. And now Eagle fans are upset because he can't call plays. And so if he don't got a great play caller, or if he butts in, we're always going to have that problem. He's been able to weather the storm twice out of 5 years and get to the Super Bowl and win one. That's why I'm counting on him to be able to do it again. And for those saying you need a head coach to call plays if necessary, right? Not like they have to, but need to know one side of the ball well. I don't know how great of a defensive mind Mike Vrabel is, but he don't call plays. Mike Vrabel don't call plays on offense and defense. Now, I know he knows defense. He was a great linebacker for the Patriots for many years. but he don't call plays. Sirianni's one thing he has to do better is hiring his staff. He can't be soft. He can't be promoting people because they like to eat at Geno's together. He can't be promoting people like that. You know what I'm saying? This man got to promote if he really sees an up and coming person, and or go out and do your job and get someone in here and stop being scared to give somebody the key to the Lambo. Let him drive it. Managing 53 egos is as important as a head coach quality as calling plays. That's why we saw Mike McDaniels not be able to cut it as a head coach. Again, it's only one shot. Mike McDaniels, hot in San Francisco. He could call a play for days. Struggled with the Dolphins as a head coach. And now he's an OC for the thing. So I like a McDaniels, a Dayball, a Josh McDaniels. I like their offensive mind, but I wouldn't want none of them as my head coach. And that's just facts. It takes more than just being an X and O guy to be a head coach of the National Football League. I'm just saying. Culture, connection, fundamentals. It sounds stupid. It sounds rah-rah-y. Yay. It's been successful for the Eagles. Nick just got to be more hard on his staff. You know, he's a player coach. That's cool. You don't got to be a staff coach. You got to buckle down. It's a job. I don't want to keep hearing how hard you guys are working. I want to see how hard you guys are working. But again, managing 53 egos is tough. You just got to be able to get the guys in here. Tomlin, say what you want. He won the Super Bowls. He's had a long time with not being under 500. He's out of it now too. Didn't call plays. John Harbaugh didn't call plays. Vrabel again didn't call plays. Sirianni don't call plays. They've been successful. You know, not everybody's going to be a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid. But again, two of them never won a Super Bowl. One of them did. But it took him a while. You know what I'm saying? He was failing miserably with the Eagles in this roster. But again, football is just the biggest team sport, right? An NBA coach can be like LeBron, play defense, play offense, get a triple-double, do what you got to do, and get us a dub. A baseball coach, I mean, you're subbing people in and out. You got to figure out the pitching rotation or whatnot, or the manager or whatever they do. But like, football is the most reliant sport on your buddy, on the teammate next to you, and the coach. Bro, if I'm an NBA coach, ISO, LeBron, get in the ball. Hockey coach, ISO, get that best person the balls. You know, baseball, come on, hit a home run, Bryce. In football, got to design plays. I got to call the plays. And I got to make sure that everybody's on their P and Qs. And then not only does Jalen Hurts got to get the ball to A.J. Brown, but the offense got to block the exact assignments and this, that, and the third. It's the ultimate team game. And the team includes the coach and the offensive coordinator. So, yes, I would love for my OC head coach to be able to fall back and call plays on one side of the ball. But I feel like there's still an opportunity to get somebody in here. Cliff is still out there. Joe Brady is still out there. We just interviewed two guys that I'm going to think about a little bit more. Matt Nagy, don't really like it though. But can Nagy help this offense more than KP? Yes. Remember, we didn't the fraudulent San Francisco 49ers beat us. The fraudulent San Francisco 49ers beat us. But people act like Niner fans are talking like they dog walked us. Bro, we had 70 plus yards of penalties. And we had 70 plus yards of penalties, missed the extra point, and literally was a 4th down conversion from winning the game. Now, granted, it was against a team that was not supposed to be there. That's why it looked so bad. But if you were just a C plus play caller, this offense is going to look better. If you just bring a little bit of a different mindset on offense in here and can call plays, it'll be A-okay. Be A-okay. My MA Straight Kush said Joe Brady's my choice as OC. He likes to run a lot, and we can mix in some play action with his zone runs. I absolutely agree. If I could pick anybody, if Howie called my phone and said, "Hey, who you want?" I'm saying Joe Brady. Again, listen. I have a video after the 2023 season before we hired Kellen Moore. I wanted Joe Brady. He was the Panthers offensive coordinator. He was up. I wanted Joe Brady. We got Kellen Moore. Joe Brady went to the Buffalo Bills. Joe Brady went to the Buffalo Bills. Last year, he got that offensive line playing as the number 1 offensive line with his play calling. Play calling helps or breaks an offensive line too. That's true. He had a number 1 rushing attack. That's also how we got to the Super Bowl too. And he utilized Josh Allen's legs and arms. I like it. And he always throws a little bit of trickery in there too. Green Wingman with a $5 super chat. So the Cowboys get Fangio light with the half calories. So the Cowboys get Fangio light with half the calories. You know how this guy is going to think since he has work under under Vic. Yeah, that's true. So as much as he knows our offense, mind you, he's going to have the roster of the Dallas Cowboys, which is not that good, right? And we also know the type of defense he's going to want to call. So Fangio, that week, will say, look, he's probably going to do this. We kind of with this. Put up a 40 burger on them Cowboys and still, dap up Christian Parker like, what's up? Shout out to Green Wingman. He called him Fangio light, half the calories. Cali Eagle with a $10 super chat. Appreciate it, Cali Eagles. Bro, it's obvious there's a dysfunction of some sort. Super Bowl and then 1 and out with basically the same team. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's going to continue until we get rid of head coach or quarterback. I'm going head coach. Well, that's what everybody's talking about. They're saying he's either the head coach or the quarterback. I think it was the head coach more, but I don't think it was necessarily. I think it was all him because he was the guy who hired Kevin. He was the guy who refused to replace Kevin. And then he was the guy who got involved with the offense at the end of the season, made it look worse, and then fired him saying, well, I thought we would be able to just get over the hump with me helping them. That's pretty much what they said at the end of the season. Nick pretty much said that I didn't fire Kevin because I didn't think we need to. And then as the season got later and we didn't get better, I got more involved with the offense. I thought that was the necessary route, not firing him, especially with it being late in the season now, me getting more involved, which made the offense worse. I think Nick Sirianni can galvanize 53 men. I think his culture has been good for this team. I just think he needs to have a separate mind on offense with him. Again, Kellen and Shane were respected OCs around the league and were able to coexist with Nick Sirianni. And they got head coaching jobs for that. Brian Johnson and KP were promotions from in-house who were just happy to have a new job title, to get a new raise. And they went along with whatever Sirianni said. And it just didn't work out. But there is some dysfunction. And now you're getting the reports that A.J. Brown actually said numerous times he wanted to be traded, which I don't know how that's realistic because he literally told us numerous times that he didn't want to be traded. So I just don't understand. Of course, when it rains, it pours. And when they see all this happen in the Philly, they just keep going and going and going. There is some dysfunction. And it is still ridiculous that, you know, we interview him, he goes somewhere else. We interview him, he goes somewhere else. We interview him, he goes somewhere else. Like, again, what is it? Is it Jalen? I don't think so. Is it Nick Sirianni? Could be, but at least the big name ones, he said you can have full autonomy. So then I guess it wouldn't be him, but they still didn't come. Is it because the media is so mean? The media is mean everywhere. Yes, it's more mean in Philly, but that's because the pressure is bigger. Like I said, you go to the Titans. If you sniff the wild card round, yay, good job. We finally made the playoffs, but we lost. We're building. Great OC. If you go to LA Chargers, get to the playoffs and win a playoff game, yes, we finally got off the hump and won a game. Maybe next year we can win two. In Philly, you have to make the Super Bowl because we are set up with a Super Bowl team. If you don't make the Super Bowl, it's a wrap. So the pressure is an all-time high. Now, if you're an offensive coordinator who's like, bro, I can literally win with Eagles roster. Let me go in there, get this job done, and go out there and be a hot commodity. Well, welcome down. Come on down. It's going to take some real motherfucking guts. But if you could do it, do it. If you're not sure, don't even come for the interview, dog. Go somewhere else. We built to win. We're not rebuilding, we retooling. If we were just drafting a quarterback or just got a new head coach or blah, 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 it'd be cool. We don't need no more growing pains. So this is why I think, yes, it could be a little bit of everything. There could be OCs out there who say, Jalen Hurts is a baller, but I don't know if I would want to be calling plays with him. I think that's a weird thing to say, but it could be. Nick Sirianni said, oh, let me be the offensive coordinator, but I still feel like he's going to butt in. That could be. They also could think that, well, AJ's status is up in the air. Lane's status is up in the air. Landon got hurt so bad he never got hurt this before. They got 20 free agents. I don't know. Are they going to be the same Eagles team? Or they could just be saying, it's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. It could be maybe a little pixel of everything, a little piece of everything. But we need somebody like Fangio. Fangio came in here after we had the worst defense in the league. Check this out. The Eagles in 2023 had the worst defense in a long time for the Eagles. We were 30th and 31st. We weren't dead last, but we were top 3 and top 4 worst defensive team in all categories. Fangio was like, well, I grew up an Eagle fan. Wherever I go to coach, it's my last time coaching. Once I'm done coaching at that place, I'm retiring. He came here because he knows football, got autonomy because he knows football, and turned the worst defense to the best defense or a top 5 defense. If you think you know offensive football, can call plays, can rejuvenize your name and or create your name, this is the place to come. But if you're scared, say you're scared and go play with the Tennessee Titans, you punks. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it at this point. For real, for real. I can't look at it any other way. Cromat C said Fangio is solid. His defense has held the team together and kept us in too many games we should have lost. Yes, it carried us. Defense carried the offense to the playoffs and then had a semi-bad game and the offense let them down. Cali Eagle said Parker just broke off more than he can chew. Going to the Cowboys is straight betrayal. Yes. And again, every coordinator dreams about being a DC. So I wouldn't want to take it away from him. But I think if he didn't sign with the Cowboys, the Packers would have offered him the same job. And I'd rather be coaching the Packers defense that has Parsons, that has a couple good corners, some solid linebackers, because after the Cowboys, he was going to interview with the Packers, and he started his coaching career with the Packers and Matt LaFleur. So I thought the Packers were going to sign him as a DC too. Not only is it betrayal to the Eagles, but you're going to a roster that is low-key trash on that side of the ball, and now you got to do some big things. So the NFL's called not for long. And we'll see what happens, but, good luck, my friend, until you play us. Presidential Ways said, could the dysfunction be Howie? Yes, he's absolutely amazing GM, but he did say he's willing to move on from coaches. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win now in the future now. Yeah. Who's to say that Howie doesn't have a control of things a little bit too much? That definitely could be. Again, we're not fully in the building, so all we can do is speculate from the outside. Now, of course, if you pay close attention to the Eagles and everything like I do, and just because y'all don't have a podcast, or maybe some of y'all do, I know Eagle fans pay attention to everything, and we all learn from each other, and we're vocal, and we talk, and we learn, and we learn, and we learn. So, you can just look at a scenario and kind of pick out what is transpiring, but that's not necessarily what could be happening. We can only go as far as it shows, that it looks / what they say. But there is something that is wrong. And I think the biggest thing that was wrong was the play caller, was the offensive coordinator. And again, because that was so wrong, some of it goes automatically to Nick Sirianni. Whether it's players not fully believe. And again, I don't know how. Nick Sirianni's biggest thing was how the players believed in him. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say the players don't believe in him anymore. But to hire your friend, hear all season long he's doing bad, watch all season long he's doing bad, don't fire him, try to come in and help him and make it worse, then to fire him, maybe that could have pushed players over the edge. Like, really, bro? We were telling you all year long, the offense got to change, do this, that, da. And now you saying you finally know after we got kicked out of the playoffs. That could have been the breaking point. So I still think the biggest problem for the Eagles was OC Kevin Patullo. But then you got to look at the roots and what stemmed off it. Who gave him the job? Who kept him there? Nick Sirianni. Did he lose trust in his players? I don't know. Offensive line was banged up and beaten down. If Landon Dickerson's 100%, Cam Jurgens 100%, and Lane Johnson 100%, now you can't ask for that the whole season long, but get hurt and then come back, right? Get hurt, take some time to come back. But Lane was in and out, in and out, in and out. Dickerson was in and out, in and out, in and out. And when he was in, he still should have been out. The dude really was like standing there at the end of the season like, I can barely move. I didn't want to let my people down, but this is the worst offseason I ever felt like. Cam Jurgens is like playing at 25%. Maybe them guys should have waited out, rested for 6 weeks apiece instead of going out one game, 1.5, 2, and then coming back like all broken up. Can't ask for full health in the season. I understand that. But I still feel like we have some good things. Bro, the moment how we call Nick elite, my jaw hit the floor, and I knew some hard days are ahead, especially if we don't get a functional OC. Well, again, I would say this though. Like Howie Roseman was clear in his wording after the word elite. He said Nick Sirianni is an elite head coach at. Then he said the following three: building a culture, working on the fundamentals, and something else. None of that was saying he's a great offensive mind. You know what I mean? It all was to what we think. He pretty much said he's an elite CEO coach. The fundamentals, the route, galvanizing the group. So I mean, at least he worded it wisely after what he said. Juan said has to be a gem on someone's team like the Seahawks who we could promote to DB's coach. Well, Zach Berman said his first option that he thinks the Eagles are going to use as DB coach is our safety coach, Joe Casper. Joe Casper is also well regarded in the Eagles coaching staff. He's worked with Vic Fangio a long time, also worked with Christian Parker a couple years. So Joe Casper has been a guy who's been around. Well, he was been around, then he left, and he got brought back because he's a Fangio guy. So again, why did I love Christian Parker? A couple reasons. What he did for Jair Alexander in Green Bay, what he did for Vic Fangio when he was a coach. I forgot where else. So he did great with Jair Alexander in Green Bay. He was also on Vic Fangio's staff somewhere else. Fangio wanted him, brought him in. So if Fangio believes that Joe Casper could do it because he's already worked with him, I'm cool. We say Howie we trust. I say Fangio we trust. I would never say that for Nick Sirianni as it pertains to offensive football. Like Howie said, Nick Sirianni's elite at these three things. Cheerleading and I'm just kidding, but CEO type stuff. But I believe Fangio will like Joe Casper for the DB coach. He was formerly the safety coach. But that's another thing that's good about Fangio. He's been in the league for so long. I'm 34. Man's been in the league for almost my whole life. There's got to be guys he worked with. So there's got to be guys, as Juan said, there has to be a gem on someone's team like the Seahawks who we can promote as DB coach. I don't know if it's the Seahawks or this team or this team or this team or this team, but Fangio has a lot of contacts in the NFL. He can pick up his phone and say, oh, he was one of my old DB coaches. Good. Oh, he was a DB coach for me. That was good. Oh, man, this guy was really good. We had some good years right here. Oh, I can't forget about this guy. Like, this man has a long list of contacts. And so I'm saddened because of Christian Parker's reputation. I knew he was eventually going to be a DC coach. I'm more even saddened because he's going to the bum-ass Cowboys. It's going to ruin his career, and we're going to be the ones to help it. And we put 40 points on him 2 weeks next year. But in Fangio, we trust. But I hear you, Juan. Cali Igor to follow our super chat. Siri only got a couple more years. What? Siri only got a couple more years of golden. Wait, yeah, I think that. Sorry, I think I meant Sirianni. Only got a couple more years of our golden era to straighten him out. I hope he doesn't waste it before the cap catches up to us. Yeah, the cap will eventually catch up to us. That is facts. But the good thing is the reason we're spending all this money is because we understand how big the cap is going to go, right? These new TV that like in the next 3-4 years, instead of the cap going up 25, 30, 40 every single year, there's going to be a year where it jumps like 80, 90 million. Now, granted, that means other teams are going to have a lot of money to spend just because we're getting more money. Don't mean we want to spend money on stuff that's not worth spending money on. But this is why he did that. The cap is going to jump immensely between 2026 and 2029 or 2030. I still want to live in the here and now, but yes, you never know when you're going to have a franchise quarterback and all this stuff. So this is still the golden era, and we need to capitalize off it. Arthur said, I'm not worried. It's all at all. It's Vic Fangio. For sure. For sure. Fangio, we trust. Keisha Harris said, what up, Philly Mike and the crew? Just now checking in. Saw this coming. People hate the Eagles, but love picking and plucking from our team/personnel. Yep. We don't got this. We don't got that. We don't got this. We don't got that. But we sure get a lot of people coming for our people. I'm saying. Arlene said, very disappointed to see Christian Parker go. Feel betrayed. Is there no loyalty? Right. At the end of the day, he would have if he said no to the Cowboys, he could have been a defensive coordinator for the Packers. That would have been a better job for him. More job security as the DC for the Packers than the DC for the Cowboys. Better roster over there in Lambeau. Worse at A&T Stadium. Plus, he could have just stayed here and then took over for Vic after he was done. But he wanted to be a DC coach. He picked that. It is what it is. I will say in Vic Fangio, we trust on replacing him. I always liked the guy. I knew was going to be good for what he did with Jair Alexander. But I agree with you. Vibes aren't great. You could say that again. Woo! Just go on Twitter, man. It's like a war zone over there. The vibes ain't great. That's you right about that. Vibes ain't great. Woo. Pretty Mimi said facts. Trey in the building said Charlie, that's Van Joseph. Oh, y'all talking to each other. Shout out to Vero Jones, Mr. Vic Fangio. We definitely trust that man. Definitely. To Cowboys. All teams do that. Didn't y'all just have Kellen Moore? Yeah, but we didn't take Kellen Moore directly off your staff. Y'all let Kellen Moore go. He went to the Chargers. And then he left the Chargers to the Eagles. Like, this dude was on our staff. And again, we took an OC and made him an OC. So he had to be, well, actually, the Chargers fired Kellen Moore. Right? Cowboys fired him. Chargers hired him. Chargers fired him. Eagles hired him. Right? We didn't fire this man. And if you try to take Christian Parker and make him your defensive back coach, we could have smacked the hand away and said, no. We deny that. But because you gave him an upgrade and job, which he is deserving of, he's a great coach. He's yours. I think he's going to be able to do a good job as a coach someday, just not in Dallas. Dark times indeed. That's what people want us to believe is dark times. But just wait. What's going to happen is, we got this OC. Some people happy, some people mad. Then here comes March. Howie Roseman just signed this player? Just made a what? Then it's going to come April. Damn, with all them draft picks, we moved up, we moved back, we did this, we did that. Oh, my God. We got another great thing. Then comes training camp. Oh, here we go. Then comes week 3, 1, 2, 3. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. We're back like we never left, baby. We got a long way to go. Starting with Joe Brady. I saw someone say, yes, it's Kristen. Joe Brady would be a long way to just, if it's dark, I wish I had the, I don't got batteries in this, but I got my lights on, but I wish I just go from dark times to one light on here for when we finally get the OC. One light on here when we make our first free agency splash. That light right there for the draft, and a big light in front for when we win our first game and put up 30. Yeah. I'm back. We ain't scored 30 points but one time last year, or twice last year. Imagine we put up a 30 burger with Joe Brady and a new draftee and a new signee, and it's all back to glory days. I'm just kidding. We'll find out soon enough, though. With that being said, I've been live for an hour. I got to go pick up my kids. I love y'all to death. Shout out to y'all. Philly Mike, you're so damn entertaining. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Let's hear what T Cowgirl said. Your front office wanted KM for his offense in Dallas, not the Chargers, for more coaches aren't successful. The more coaches are successful, then more opportunities they'll have to move up. It's football. You're right about that. And at least you got one guy on your team that I mess with. Actually, I used to mess with CeeDee Lamb before he went to y'all too. I was a big fan of him coming out of Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts was throwing him passes too. And yeah, Myles Garrett coming to Philly just broke the sack record. Things can turn real good in a quick second with this team. But right now, let's give the media what they want. Oh my God, we don't know. Everything is so wrong this offseason. Nobody wants to OC for us. Everything is bad. Our coach sucks. Our quarterback sucks. We're losing everybody. Trading AJ. Let all that fake stuff happen. So when it don't happen and we can laugh about it again, we can remember the dark times for like a week. The week that we lost to the Niners and the 2 weeks that fall behind it. The week that we lost to the Niners and the 3 weeks that followed behind it are the dark times. The rest, lights back on. With that being said, I love y'all to death. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. Go Bird says pretty Mimi. Juan says peace, Philly. Oh, Tiffany Simpson in the building. Shout out to Tiffany. Love y'all to death. Remember, turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live or drop videos. Until next time, you know what time it is. We out. Peace.